Hello, everybody, and welcome to round number 3 of the 2021 OC Entrance Series. We are here at the Hungaroring in Budapest for the midway point of the season. I know it's very quick indeed. Obviously, 5 races, of course. So, obviously, we're at the midway point. No championship can be decided. That will be from next race onwards. I am JW97, and I'm joined today by a local Hungarian himself. In fact, he's going to be the man who's going to be doing Hungarian commentary for the highlights for the Hungarian GP for the top class. It's Ben Valdinga.
Thanks for mentioning it, Joe. Welcome, everyone. I'm kind of interested to see how these young drivers in the entrance series can develop their skills before entering into further tiers into either Formula E or Champ Car or basically DTM.
Exactly. Well, some of them in their case is trying to get back into those series, of course, because some of them have got experience in the OC, but for a majority of them, it's obviously their chance to try and get into it. Now, as you can see, we've got no rain expected for the qualifying session, so it'll be a dry running, and hopefully we don't have the issue that we had last week at Silverstone, where only 19 cars went out at a time. So we're going to get things underway here at the Hungaroring, and note the menu screen. We're not at Silverstone. We are at Hungary, of course. It's obviously just the vanilla game menu screens that you can see, because the slot that's been taken here is obviously the 11th slot. But here we are then in the garage, a very quick loading screen. And of course, for anybody who is new to the series, it's a 15-minute qualifying session, a very quick qualifying session, and hopefully, of course, all 22 cars should be able to get out onto the track this time, by unlike what we saw at Silverstone, where for some reason only 19 cars were allowed to go out on track. So anyway, last time out, of course, at Silverstone, a very, very close race indeed, involving the for the race win, of course, with Juha Sopanen, of course, standing the pressure of the experienced Mattia Catalan to take the victory in the end. And as a result, Sopanen now leads the Drivers' Championship as a result, taking the lead from Sam Fact, who had a bit of a dismal weekend at Silverstone, which has led to a three-way tie for second place in the championship between, Sam Fact himself, Matteo Catalan, and the man we are looking at right now, Julian Remes, who's had a very good start to the season in the entrance series. Currently lies in a tied second place in that championship, and the first Honduras driver in the OC, definitely doing a very good job at this point, and be looking to continue that here at the Hungaroring. It will be interesting to see, of course, how these cars will cope. As we know, this circuit's got a bit of a reputation, of course, let's not forget, of having a few crashes at a couple of corners, and I wonder how these guys will cope, of course. We have seen a few crashes in this series so far this season. We obviously had one at Austria, and we had quite a few at Silverstone last time out, hence why 16 cars finished in that race that time by. So it will be very interesting to see. Now, I'm not sure if you watched any of the entrance series so far, Bence, but if you have done, how have you seen the season so far?
Well, I just took a little peek in the first 2 rounds of the season and just checked the standings, and I'm quite surprised that Joe Sopanen, on his first ever appearance, the GP4OC World, is doing this well. After this, well, let's say late series saved his life for the 2021 season, and I think he has got some potential to become maybe the future driver in the top class. Well, but first, when he finish this series and maybe win it if he can, and then maybe he could go to World E, World Champ Car, DTM, or if he wanted to try a really big shot, he could try and sign up for F2 next season. He's got the potential is there. I'm just excited to see if he's got the luck for it to, well, get a seat in F2 after his first pretty much 5 races of his career.
Indeed so, and of course that all depends really on if he signs up, of course. He hasn't signed up for the top class yet, probably because he realises that he's not ready yet, but hopefully we'll see him appear in either the F2, DTM, FE or World Champ Car sign-ups in the future. Of course, for anybody who needs a reminder, of course, the DTM sign-ups open this weekend, to be exact. Obviously the F2 sign-ups are currently open, and they will be open until, they opened on the 3rd of September, so given the way that Flow works it will close on Monday the 3rd of October, because it usually gives everybody exactly a month's time. So you have really, from the 3rd of September, you have only 30 days to sign up. Or now on this case, because we're now on the 7th, you've got 26 days left. So yeah, that's that really. But of course, DTM will be open this weekend, and then a few days later, Formula E should open, followed a few days later by World Champ Car. In terms of the entrance series sign-ups, we should know something about that later on down the line. But anyway, We've got some lap times coming up now. Then as Junior Remis crosses the line, there's a 1 minute 34.177. Ray and Adam now then comes across the line, goes into second, 9 tenths off. Fonya Tonkonkum now then across the line, goes into second place. Here comes Josh Fings now then. Let's see what the Englishman can do as he now rounds the final turn and onto the pit straight he will go now then as the Englishman now then crosses the line and goes quickest by 3 tenths of a second. Here comes Max Gillen, who's holding up a bit of a train of cars at the moment. I think one of them might be Matteo Catalan. He's currently holding up as here comes Skillen now then down the pit straight as somebody is actually trying to overtake him into turn one. Skillen goes fifth. Jefferson, it was in fact, he was holding up, including Tarrison, who went up into third place, exactly a second behind Things as a result of that hold up. As we saw Noakes go into fifth there, Fat goes into seventh. De Oliveira now goes to the top of the timing sheet. So here comes Patrick Borghi, goes into fourth position. Nathan Orman now then comes down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he goes only 10th with that lap as Bennett goes into fifth. Emilia Koenigsegger now then, the only driver yet to finish a race this season, goes into 11th. Catalan slots into 5th. Christoph Berenek goes into 6th. And Yaldi Tilly goes into 3rd position. As here comes Jacob Sikorski now then, the Polish driver crosses the line and he goes into 15th. Sopanen goes only 13th for that time as Bogas goes into 6th. Davy Suarez goes into 9th. As Joao Lopez meanwhile slots into 11th. So at the moment it's Bernardo de Oliveira He's currently at the top of the timing sheets. Catalan's still in the top 10, but Sopanen not having the best of qualifying so far this at the moment, and nor is Sam Fact. It seems that just like at Silverstone, Fact appears to be struggling around at the tight and twisty Hungaroring, and very close to the top two, it's safe to say, Bent. Only 800 separating De Oliveira and Things at the moment.
Yeah, look, this is going to be really interesting to see, because we only have a bit less than 10 minutes left of the session, so quite a few drivers still have the ability to run another lap or two. So that could determine the final order, as we already saw it, and that, well, we already experienced some last grasp as 4 positions in the history of GP4C. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone just comes out of nowhere and snatches pole. Like, sorry to reflect on this, but like I did in the Spanish Grand Prix in F2, because that was pretty much surprising, almost towards the end of the session.
Do you remember that? Yes, he did come out of nowhere that day, he did, and as you can see, they're all going to be coming back into the garages, and thankfully, unlike what we saw last week at Silverstone, all 22 cars did get out onto the racetrack, but given it's GP4, I would imagine that only 21 will go out next time by, and 1 will get left behind. But because of the fact that this is usually a short track, I would imagine that they will eventually get a second flying lap in, whoever the driver will be, to get left behind, as we've got Christoph Berenek now then, who comes in. He's currently in 8th position, 6 tenths off of Bernardo de Oliveira, as Sopanen, who's only down in 16th at the moment, trying to get into the garage as best he can, although there is a bit of contact in the garage, as he'll soon get wheeled back into the garage there, so a little bit of an argy-bargy going on in the pit lane. Davy Suarez now into the pits, along with Joao Lopez. I would say his teammate, but there's obviously no teams in this, so some of them have obviously got similar liveries, from the fact that some of these liveries were meant to be used in one of Uri's old series, of course, which was the Concept Series, as Bogas is deciding to take a little bit of a detour around the pit lane at the moment. I'm presuming he must have made some contact somewhere on the racetrack. He should come to a dead stop soon, because the AI light now, so he should get dragged back to the garage quite soon, but I would imagine he's probably holding up a bit of a queue at the moment. Oh, no, just enough of a gap for Josh Fings to just squeeze through there, as he's going out on the track to see if he can try and find that 800th of a second he needs to try and dethrone De Oliveira at the top of the timing sheet. It will be interesting to see, of course, what these drivers can do around this track. Hopefully there's not going to be as much carnage as we saw last time out at Silverstone. I think the one corner that everyone will probably be fearing is probably turns 1, because if you've seen so many times in the top class, and even in GP2 when they used to race here, there was quite a bit of carnage through into them corners as well. So hopefully it's not going to be the case in the entrance series, as Things now then makes his way up the hill towards the left-hander, using a bit of curve on the left-hand side. A few more cars have come out since then now then. Remis has come out onto the track, as is Koenigsegger, Noakes, Adam, Fact, and of course Skillen at the moment, who's currently on the back row. Only Skillen and Jefferson, the only 2 drivers to be over 2 seconds off of De Oliveira. You would imagine that because Skillen was holding up a bit of a train of cars, and at the same time Jefferson, in fact I think Jefferson was in that train, that's the reason why they're over 2 seconds. So you would imagine that there'll be some improvement there from the Scotsman and the Brazilian there, as Things now then just coming up towards the fast, long, swooping right-hander now then, as he's under 7 minutes to go in this session. Of course, it is a very quick qualifying session, let's not forget, because of course we don't want to cross into the top class, which of course gets underway at 5 p.m, so in just under 1 hour and a half's time. We will see the top class in action around here at Budapest for 70 laps of action, as Things now then is about to start his second flying lap. Hopefully for his sake, there is no traffic by the time he gets towards the pit exit. There's still 3 cars in the garage. We expect one to get left behind, that because that's how Grand Prix 4 likes to work, so we'll have to see if Things will get any traffic as he comes down the straight. There is a car coming out of the pit lane. I think that it's Lopez that's come out there, Joao Lopez. Davy Suarez is still in the garage at the moment, but I think Things has just got enough of a gap now between himself and Lopez there, so I don't think he's going to get held up too much unless he gets really close to the back of him in the braking zones. As Things now then just goes down the hill towards the flat out right-hander he goes, as he will now make his way up the hill towards the end of the first sector. Let's see what it's like compared to De Oliveira, and he's down on him by 4/10 of a second. So it seems that at the moment, given the fact that he's 800ths off of De Oliveira at the moment, it looks like the Things is not on an improvement, and this looks to be quite a poor second lap for him. But at the moment, he's still occupying the front row as he split with just over 5.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session, as they now make their way through into the S's now then. And now coming around the left and right hander we will soon go, as he will now approach the end of the second sector quite soon, and near flat out corner. I bet you probably could take it flat out with these cars given how slow they are, but over a second off of De Oliveira, so yeah, this is not a very good lap, and I don't think it's got anything to do with Lopez in front, because as you can see there's about a car's width between them, so I don't think he's getting held up by Lopez in front. As Things now then comes around the second to last corner, as he'll now make his way up the hill towards the final corner now then. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight will come Josh Things, as let's see what the Englishman can do. I don't think he's going to improve unless he finds a miracle in the last sector, but across the line he goes, and 1.3 seconds off, so yeah, not really improving. Here's Skillen now then. Of course he was involved with a bit of holding ups with Jefferson there, and he does improve, but only up into 19th. Concombe goes up to 4th, so a big improvement there. Adam meanwhile goes up to 3rd. Remy's across the line, and he does not improve. He stays where he is, which is 6th position. Daniel Noakes across the line, he will go now then, and he doesn't improve actually. Sam Fact, can he improve at the moment, because he's all the way down in 17th. The German crosses the line and goes only up into 12th there, so just outside the top 10 at the moment. Here comes Patrick Borghi, the Italian, comes down the pit straight now then, and Borghi across the line he will go. This looks to be a good lap, and he goes up to 3rd, a big improvement there for him. And Yaldi Tilly across the line he will go, and the Frenchman stays where he is. It was Davy Suarez who got left behind in the garage. Tarrison doesn't improve. De Oliveira doesn't improve on his pole time at the moment. Jefferson improves to go up into 8th, a big improvement there for the Brazilian. He needed to really, because he was over 2 seconds off. Bennett doesn't improve. Coney Ziner goes into 13th position. Chrysler Berenek down the pit straight he will go, and no improvement for him. As Soppinen, can he improve? He can, but only up into 16th position. Only 14th and 16th for the top 2 in the Drivers' Championship. Jacob Sikorsky goes into 19th, slots in front of Noakes. Here comes Matteo Catalan now then. The experienced Italian crosses the line and goes up into 6th, so a big improvement there, and that could really help him in the title fight. Here comes Ormond. He goes only up 1 position into 21st. He has been struggling recently, it's fair to say. Joao Lopez now then, coming into the final corner. Around the long sweeping right-hander he will go now then, and the Brazilian currently in, where is he at the moment? He's currently in 17th, across the line, stays in 17th, so doesn't improve on that. Alexandre Bogas, the Portuguese driver, crosses the line now then, and he does not improve, stays where he is, which is currently 10th position, currently in the cusp of the top 10, and I think that's everybody done on this occasion in terms of second laps. Now, whether or not anybody will get out there and do a final flying lap, we'll have to wait and see. You'd imagine that Suarez will do his best to get out there as quick as possible, because he actually opted to stay in the garage that time by, but so far nobody's been able to challenge De Oliveira at the moment, Bence.
Still holding the lead but just only by 200ths of a second, so that looks sealed away so far. But if some of the drivers like Borghi or let's just say, let me check it because I can't really memorize the driver names. So let's put it in simple as some of the drivers if they are quick enough, they may be able to get at least one more qualifying lap into before the time runs out. But they have to go out at least a 2-minute mark, which I don't think anybody do.
They'll have to get out before the 1:33 mark, to be exact, Bent, because you can see Oliveira's got a 1:33 lap time. So Of course, Suarez got left behind. Let's not forget as well, and he's currently in where is he? He's in 12th position. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets out on time, but they've not got long left. So here we are on 40, then 39, 38, 37. There is actually somebody going out. In fact, it's Max Skillen. So could he be the only one to do a lap? He's gone out on track, but there's nobody else following him. So I think Skillen could be, well, in fact, I say that, but there is somebody coming out. But I think Conker might have just missed out. I think Skillen has just done enough, though, to do a final flying lap. But in terms of everybody else, that's it for them. So only really one or two drivers stand in the way of Bernardo de Oliveira taking pole position here at the Hungaroring. So let's wait and see if Skillen does cross the line. I'd imagine he would. It's just a question of whether Conker behind did enough to get out on track just before the timer came to an end. Of course, some people will be going out there, of course, just to get some mileage ready for the race, which is coming up straight after this, of course. We don't take a break in this, as there's no mistake rate for these guys in qualifying, so there's no real need to do a custom grid. And, of course, given the fact there's no penalties in this series either, there's no need for grid penalties either. So that's that, as Skillen just makes his way through into the chicane there. And so now around the S's now, then we go. Skillen around the right-hander now that he will go, as he will now make his way towards the end of Sector 2 with just over 30 seconds left on the clock. Coming around the long swooping right-hander he will go, as he will now make his way down towards the right-hander now then. Flicking the car in through the right-hander, using the curb on the inside, as using a tiny bit on the outside before making his way towards the final two turns on the racetrack, as he's got just over 10 seconds left. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9... 8. I go a little bit too quick with the timer. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Skillen's done enough. 1, 0. Checker flag is out. That's the end of the session. And Concom, I don't think, made it. So I think it's only just Skillen that is able to do a lap. And no, Concom didn't make. So it's only Skillen that's the only man who could theoretically stop De Oliveira from getting pole position. Although, having said that, of course, Skillen is where is he at the moment? He's down in last position. He's 1.6 seconds off. So he'll need to find some mega time on this lap if he wants to stop De Oliveira from taking pole position. Skillen now then, down the hill he goes down there through the right-hander. And let's see what his second sector is going to look like now then, as he comes up towards the end of the second sector, and he's actually 24 thousandths off, so he looks like he is on an improvement, but he's not up on De Oliveira though. But it's only 24 thousand. He could still try and recover it, because this is where you could gain or lose the time, of course, through this second sector where most of the twiddly sections of the track are. Through the right, through the left, using a bit of curb on the outside now then, as he makes his way through into the S's now then, flicking the car in through these section of corners, as he will now make his way now then towards the end of the second sector. Let's see what it's like compared to De Oliveira on this occasion now then. Up towards the end of Sector 2 he will go, and he's now 4 tenths off him, but he is still on improvement, of course, because he's 1.6 seconds off. So if he can keep this up, I think he may emerge around about, I think probably near the top 10. I don't think he'll quite break into it. It might go around about where Berenek and Suarez is, but let's see. Skillen now then, coming up towards the final corner, and onto the pit straight will come the Scotsman now then. Round the final turn, onto the pit straight he will go, as Max Skillen is going to cross the line. What can he do? And he goes actually 18th, so he actually lost more time than I thought. And well, that's that really, because nobody else is doing a lap. I guess we wait for the people to cross the line, who have come out of the pits to cross the line. But it does mean that the man on the screen, Bernardo de Oliveira, has taken pole position for this race.
I'm surprised that the track doesn't improve as much as it did yesterday during the qualifying for the top class. So I guess that's the advantage of the OC series, when everyone got pretty much equal machinery, and the track and driver pretty much a track characteristic, and the driver can decide the grid at each of the every races that we see most of the time.
Indeed so, as we're going to continue, because we're going to have a look on the grid when we get to the race, of course, as Yuri just does a little quick save, hence why I don't think you can see it on your screen, just in case anything does happen on this occasion. It's always nice to have a backup save just in case. But anyway, let's go through the grid then. We might as well do 4x4 if you don't mind, Ben, so during this 18-lap race. So
no worries.
Then you do the next 4, I do the next 4, and so on and so forth. So, on pole position, we have Bernardo de Oliveira, followed by Josh Fings in second position. Patrick Borghi will start in third, with Ray and Adam in fourth position.
Lee Tilly starts fifth ahead of Matteo Catalan in sixth. Tunka O'Connor and Julian Remy starts in eighth. Pretty decent qualifying by him.
And Jefferson will start in 9th with Alexander Bogas in 10th. Then it is Krzysztof Berenek in 11th, followed by Davy Suarez in 12th.
Emilia Kozn on its X starts 13th, ahead of Sam Thack 14th. The second driver of the championship didn't have the best of qualifying today. Thomas Bennett starts 15th, ahead of Drew Saponin in 16th, who hadn't had the best of qualifying sessions either.
Sarah Lopez will start in 17th and Max Killen in 18th. Then it is Chris Tarrison who starts in 19th with Jacob Sikorsky in 20th. And on the last row of the grid, Bent.
Daniel Norcutt, okay, as Nathan Ormond closes up the grid in 21st and 22nd.
Let's have a look at the weather. No rain expected, so for the third race in a row, there is no rain expected. Of course, we did have a bit of light rain in the first race at the Red Bull Ring, but it never really wetted the track, really. So another dry race in store for the entrance series then. So we wait to get onto the grid once the loading screen has done its thing, because it's got a similar thing to what the BTCC mod had in that it doesn't have a loading bar. But anyway, here we are then, onto the grid then. For the here at the Hungaroring here in Budapest, 18 laps of action coming your way here at the Hungaroring. So we've got De Oliveira on the right of your screens, Things on the left. Who's going to get the lead into the first corner as the 5 lights are now coming on for the start of the race, and the lights are out and away we go here at the Hungaroring. It's an amazing start from Things. It looks like De Oliveira has bogged down at the start and Things has already got the jump on him into the first corner, I think. So Things looks like he's already got the lead going into the first corner now as they all make their way down the hill, but De Oliveira trying to get him back into the first corner, but decides to slot back into it as the top 3 starts going single file. As meanwhile they head into the first corner. Bit of contact there between Catalan and Concom, that is, but luckily not harm done, and I think everybody has got through the first few turns safe here. No, it wasn't Catalan, sorry. I think it was actually, who was it? Was that Jefferson who made contact with him there?
I think it was Condon, the Tyler driver.
I mean, the person who made contact with Concom is Soppinen has actually dropped to the back of the field, so he's not had a very good start. He seems like he might have also been bogged down at the start, but look at this, Things pulling a bit of a gap as De Oliveira already having to fend off from Murray and Adams so far, but apart from a few bumps, a very clean start, Bent.
Pretty much. The only contact that we had is at the first corner, but we escaped without any nasty incidents. I just hope that I don't have these commentators, because like once you had back in 2015 when you were commentating the 2007 Brazilian Grand Prix. Yeah, Josh Reigns is just already rocketing away from the pack, while Bruno Oliveira, I think, is either stole a bit on the grid or just had too much of a wheel spin at the start, and he looks like he doesn't have the best of the pace in the field. So for 18 laps running, he had to defend like a lion just to reflect from
Catalan trying to take full advantage of Ignaldi Tilly there, who's trying to have a go at Patrick Borghi there. They're still going to remain side by side through the long swooping right-hander. Catalan, I thought he got the move done there, but it didn't quite work out. That would have been an impressive move if Catalan had pulled that one off, but now he's back in the slipstream as we now start lap 2 of the race. And now Ray and Adam tries to have a look on the inside of Bernardo De Oliveira, but it looks like De Oliveira has already got the inside covered and he's going to hold on to that second place. We got Catalan on the inside of Tilly, but Tilly breaks that a little bit later to stay in front, as meanwhile down the inside goes Remis, and he's got the move done on Bogas to go up into 9th position. He knows that one of his rivals is in front and 2 of his rivals are towards the rear of the field, so he needs to take full advantage of this. Do both Catalan and Remis, as De Oliveira is still holding up the rest of the field at the moment whilst Things continues to pull away.
That looks to be like much Things' rate is to lose. He's already 3 seconds ahead of the whole field, literally. And I'm not sure if I think I wanted to ask you. I'm not sure if he's on the lighter form or not, because in the Intro Series, I think every car is fueled to 18 laps nonetheless. So it will be interesting to see who the best race track around.
Excuse me, I had a bit of a tickle there in my throat. So apologies if you heard that on the microphone, but I was just going to say.
I think something happened. I thought something happened on the track, and that is why you.
No, I've just had a bit of a chesty cough there. But anyway, back to the action. I'll get back to what I was going to say in a minute. But Ray and Adam trying to have a go at Bernardo De Oliveira. They didn't quite work out, as now it's brought Patrick Borghi into the fight. I was just going to say, of course, there's obviously no pit stops in this series, so I don't think it really matters in terms of the fuel load in this. So anyways, now we come up towards the final corner. Let's see if Adam can try and get De Oliveira this time by, because De Oliveira went defensive last time by. Things with another fastest lap of the race now. Then a 1:34.262. And Adam now right in the slipstream with De Oliveira. He's going to flick it to the inside. De Oliveira again trying to shut the door, but I think Adam is already there on the inside. Down the inside goes the Italian. There should be the move done. Down the inside he goes, and that is the move done. Ray and Adam up into second place.
And looks like I think I can see further action back down the field coming. Oh boy. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's quite a bit of a train forming behind the Oliveira, and here is going down into the inside of turn 2, but he backs out of it and thinks better of it. As Christian Berenek runs a little bit wide and pretty much invites the back of the field onto his back. As Josh Things will continues to lead. He's pretty much getting to the 5-second mark, advantage-wise. And I don't think anyone can stop him by pace.
As the gap is up to 4.5 seconds at this point in time, but of course Adam is now free from De Oliveira, so it'll be interesting to see what his pace is like compared to Josh Things, although if it's going to be a bit of a task for him to try and close back up, although De Oliveira is still with him at the moment, it does look like that Adam is slowly starting to drop him off, as Borghi's still holding up a train of cars behind him at this point in time. As you can see, just behind is Borghi having to go a bit defensive, because Inyaldi Tilly is trying to give him a bit of bother into the right-hander there, but Tilly just going to hold back for the moment as they now make their way towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. I wonder if Tilly will try and perform a similar move to what we saw with Adam just a little bit earlier on, as they now make their way up the hill towards the final corner. The gap is actually up to 4.9 seconds, so Things is still continuing to increase the gap out in front, despite the fact that Adam has now broken free a bit from De Oliveira. Now, here comes the battle for 4th position, as Bogas looks like he's retaken 10th somewhere, unseen by the cameras. But anyway, Tilly now then on the inside of Borghi. Can he get the move done? He's trying to have a go on the inside there. Can he try and get that a little bit later on the brakes into the first corner? It's going to be quite tight. Careful, guys. It looks like, in fact, he just basically opened the door for him there, did Borghi. It's Tilly now on the inside, and they actually still going to remain side by side, but Tilly's just going to have the edge until he gets up into 4th. Can Catalan take full advantage? He's trying to look to the inside now then, but no, Catalan has to step back for the moment. But up into 4th place goes Inyaldi Tilly.
Well, Catalan thought better of it and trying to move into turn 2, as we already saw in the past in the other series, is that going in for a move into turn 2 can either end up as a genius move or pretty much end up in a crash, as we already saw and experienced it, like last season, for example. So it's pretty much risky but doable if the 2 drivers can do it and execute it perfectly. As we already seeing a bit of a train thing at the back of the field.
It's either Suarez or Lopez that's holding up that train. I think it's actually Suarez.
Oh yeah.
From what I can see from the timing tower on the bottom there, I think it's Suarez is the one who's holding everybody up. The Adam's slowly starting to increase the gap to 0.8 seconds, and I've just realised, as meanwhile Catalan trying to look on the inside of Borghi, this contact there. That's as Catalan has gone around. Matteo Catalan is around. Borghi just able to recover that, but Catalan, that is a very costly error for him, given he's quite up far through the field in the championship, and Julian Remes is probably licking his lips at this.
Catalan, just the merest of touches coming into the
got it stuck, in fact, because he's not moving. He might have got the car stuck, in fact, on that little bit there. Obviously, they can get the car going, as we saw at the Red Bull Ring, but it seems that maybe the damage has been done, so maybe Catalan could be out of this race. Let's have a look at this.
I was going to say just the merest of touches, and Catalan couldn't catch the car, and he managed to half spun it. Then maybe he somehow stole the engine. I'm not sure if he can get it back in running, but that would cost a lot of time for him, if not causing him to retire from this race.
We'll have to wait and see, of course, if we get a notification down the bottom. Jefferson tries to have a go on the inside of Patrick Borghi there, who's trying to recover after what happened earlier with Matteo Catalan, but Jefferson not able to find a way through. Here is Julian Remes, speaking of which. I thought he was a little bit higher through the field, but he's actually only in 8th position. Catalan is out of the race. He did get it beat, so Catalan is out of the race. So we're now down to 21 runners here at the Hungaroring. That's not good for him, considering he is kind of in the championship fight at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much. That's one of the biggest blows that he could get, because Sopan, his championship rivals, are pretty much at the back of the field. That was his only chance to gain on Sopanen and fact in the end, but he managed to mess it up on his own, then stole the engine, and that's that. With 2 races to go, I'm not sure if he's able to stay in title contention or not.
Well, given that so far that Fact and Soppinen are out of contention, he will still be in it, but he could have gained quite a lot in this race, and maybe we'll have to try again at the next race, which will of course be at Spa-Francorchamps next week. As we see Tilly again trying to have a go at De Oliveira. Oliveira trying to keep him back for as long as possible. In fact, I was going to bring up the fact that Tilly was actually closing in on De Oliveira. In fact, before we saw that contact happen between Catalan and of course Borghi, the two Italian drivers, is now coming around the final turn. We go. Is Tilly going to have a go at De Oliveira for third position? Let's see as they come down the pitch straight now. They was on lap 6 of 18 as Adam continues to pull away. Tilly now looking to the inside of Bernardo De Oliveira down towards the first corner. Can the Frenchman get the move done on the inside of De Oliveira? He's trying to have a go, but Bernardo breaks that a little bit later and holds on to third position as a result. So Tilly will have to rethink that one and try again a little bit later.
The other chance for him to make a move is going into turn 2, but I think he's a little bit too far back to make something like it. And we're talking about the Hungaroring. As well, you probably know it. It's not named as Monaco without the barriers without a coincidence, because this is pretty much a tight track, and there are really few opportunities to overtake around the track like this. The only possibilities is into turn 1, turn 2, if you have the balls for it. And third to last corners, here comes Ormond trying to make a look on the car in front, which is killed, but he backs out of it. Trying to make a move on the outside of Mansell is pretty much a risky move. It almost equals to a suicidal or a kamikaze move if we... It's doable. It is doable if you are pretty brave enough.
Yes. Unseen by the cameras, meanwhile, Lopez has actually passed Remis. So Lopez has actually got up into 8th position somewhere on the track. So Remis has actually lost a lot of places. He's now only on 2 championship points. The gap's up to 7.5 seconds between the top 2. As meanwhile, will Tilly try and have a go again at De Oliveira for third position as things have just started lap 7 of 18 here at the Hungaroring. As you can see just in the background, the battle for third still continuing now. There's Tilly right on the gearbox of De Oliveira. He's trying to have a look to the inside, but of course these cars are equal as well. So they're producing the same amount of power down the straight. So you're going to need a little bit more strength to try and get a move done. And again, just like the previous lap, De Oliveira just able to break that little bit later to just stay in front of Inealdi Tilly as a result. So as you alluded to, Bence, earlier, this is obviously a very difficult track to overtake at.
Yeah, as I already mentioned, there are 3 possible opportunities when you can overtake. We're one of them, which is turn 2, if you get the ball sort as I already mentioned. But trying to make a move anywhere else out on the track is pretty much going to end up in contact, and if not in a crash. It's Killen. Looks like he finds some pace, and he's attacking the car in front, which I don't know who it is at the moment. Or wait,
in case he's backed off, he had to back off a bit there, and as a result, I think it's put Ormond into play. As a result of that, as Soppinen, in fact, has been gaining a place last time we checked, but he's not really gaining as much as you would have expected from the championship leaders. He's only in 20th position at this point in time. We ride on board with Things. It was up to 7.5 seconds. Let's see what the gap is like this time by between himself and Adam. It's now gone up to 7.9 seconds, so he's actually continuing to increase the gap out at the front of the field. So basically doing what Sam Fact did 2 races ago at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, his pace is pretty much superior on this track, despite the fact that he has missed out on pole position in qualifying. In the race, it's a whole different story. And there's Soares and Borges making contact. Borges goes around and Soares rejoins the track. Luckily, nobody hits him.
Bogas going to get stuck like Catalan. I think it is, because it is in the same area. There's obviously something there that's making them stuck, of course. And as a result, I think Bogas is going to be out of the race. So we're going to be down to 2 runners as a result. But again, another attempt at a bumper and run, and it's backfired.
That's pretty much I think that's pretty much the identical move that Catalan did just a few laps prior. So yeah, and there is the official confirmation. Borges is out of the race just after he stole the engine. As we were riding on board, and it is Lopez that we are riding on board, I think. Yes, he is, and he's looking for a move into turn 2, but thinks better than backs out of it, and almost managed to collect the car in front.
That place could become a bit of a car park as Tilly's up to third, unseen by the cameras. Tilly has finally got third place over De Oliveira. He must have got him down at the first corner. So Tilly up into third position, and now look, it's brought Funyaton Concom into the fight as well. So Tilly now finally up into podium into the podium places. My tongue got twisted there.
No worries. And now Concom has just only had to sit back and watch his. I would rather say teammate, but as you already said, we don't have teams in the entrance series, so but one thing sure he has to watch out and sit back and watch the Oliveira, and pretty much try and do everything for him to keep as much places as you can. But on the other hand, you can think about it. Maybe he could get the cars in front. That's because he's much faster. I mean, I don't doubt it because the Oliveira is pretty much struggling on race place. He was good in qualifying, but it's a whole different story when we look at race now on lap 9.
Well, as you speak of that, Concom is actually now on the inside of De Oliveira in front. Meanwhile, Lopez trying to attack Jefferson for 7th position. This looks like it's going to be an easy move for him because he's already looking like he's going to get the overlap into the first corner. Down the inside goes Joao Lopez on Alan Jefferson, and that's P7 for the Brazilian. Has Concom actually got De Oliveira there because they were side by side going into the first corner? I'm not sure. Has Concom got 4th there? Because I can't really quite tell. Is Tarrison now trying to look on the inside? Not going to work out there. Oh, bit of contact there. A bit of a bump and run there for Ormond, and he's up into 16th position as a result, making a recovery after starting in last position on the grid, and lots of battling going on behind. Now, I'm not sure if Concom actually got the move done on De Oliveira or not, and the answer to that is yes, he did. So Concom up into 4th, so De Oliveira now down to 5th position. As you alluded to, Bent, he's really struggling with race pace at the moment.
Yeah, we already saw that he pretty much blocked up at the start, then he started falling back because he's getting all taken left, right, and center. So we were riding on board with Sopanen, who's already up into 19th place. So the Finnish drivers managed to recover some positions, but I don't think he's going to be able to get into the points at this rate. There are, let me count, I think 10 or 9 laps to go at least. I don't think he can make a top 10 position, so he needs to wait for a little bit of a miracle and wait for crashes like the 2 ones we saw earlier with Catalan and with Catalan, for example, when he stole the engine.
And the same with Alexander Bogas as well. Sikorsky trying to look on the inside of Koni Zaina, not quite get the move done. Of course, Koni Zaina still yet to finish a race this season, yet to get classified in the Drivers' Championship. Just got to keep herself out of trouble, and then she'll be eventually classified in the championship as Tilly makes his way down towards turn number 1 now. Then I do believe that De Oliveira is going to be under pressure from Borghi quite soon. So De Oliveira continuing to go backward at this race. It's Borghi and even Lopez, in fact, because Lopez has actually been flying at this part of the race, is actually gaining. Meanwhile, Sikorsky on the back of Koni Zaina. Of course, these two crashed into each other, let's not forget, at the Red Bull Ring a couple of weeks ago. Sikorsky on the inside of Koni Zaina. Can he get the move done? And the answer to that is yes. Up into 14th place he goes now then. And now Nathan Ormond will want a piece of Emilia Koni Zaina as he tries to recover from last position on the grid.
And Adam is pretty much keeping his 2nd place comfortably after he was taking De Oliveira. And I don't think anyone can challenge him after, well, pretty much Oliveira is holding up every single car that is coming up behind him, and which now mixed up is pretty much Borges, I think. And yeah, and Lopez is coming up behind as well. So that's pretty much the 2nd place secure for Adam. And so here comes Borghi coming out of the left, on the right lap and moving to the inside, and that's an exact move. And he goes around. Can he manage to keep going? I don't think so. Oh, that might cause another retirement by a stalling engine. And Oliveira somehow managed to, for this once, keep a place against someone.
Yes, because the previous 2, of course, ended up losing a place. Can he get it going now, unlike the other 2? The answer to that, I don't think is no, I don't think. So I think Borghi is going to join that car part you can just see there in the background. So that's another retirement in this race now. Then, meanwhile, what's going on in front is Lopez trying to have a go on the inside of De Oliveira. Can he get the move done? And yes, he can. Lopez up into 5th. The Brazilian absolutely flying at this stage of the race now then, as now Jefferson wants a piece of De Oliveira. He is really struggling during this part of the race, so much so that Borghi, as a result, he is now out of the race. So he is going to join that car part that's over there.
Yeah, it's pretty much the identical move. So when we saw it at least 2 or 3 times, when we see something like this again during this race, then we will know that it's a high chance that we will see another DNF after such a slight contact like this. Which is pretty much an interesting thing to see, because I think that is the first time ever that I saw DNFs like this in GP4C. I saw plenty of races in the Hungaroring in other tiers and in top class, but not some other saw any retirements like these. To just simply stall the engine, then pull over to the side of the track.
Indeed so, and obviously it may be something that you will need to work on, of course, because they were able to get everything sorted last time by at the Red Bull Ring, as we saw people were able to recover from that. But on this occasion, it seems that people seem to struggle around here at the Hungaroring. I don't know why the Autocam was obsessed with them clearing the cars up over there. But anyway, back to what's going on between De Oliveira and of course Jefferson, because we've got a battle for sixth going on, as Jefferson will try and put De Oliveira under a bit of pressure here and now make their way around the final turn and onto the pit straight now. Then we will go, as let's see if Jefferson can get the move done on De Oliveira to come down the pit straight now. Then towards the first corner, he's going to look to the inside. Is De Oliveira going to defend? He is. He's going to try and move over to the right hand side, but he's maybe already too late. Jefferson trying to have a go, but De Oliveira stays in front for the time being, so Jefferson will have to try again if he wants to get a hold of some more positions at this point of the race, as the marshals are really messing around with the cars that are parked over there at the moment. They can't seem to get the car park aligned quite well over there at this point in time, but I wish the Autocam wouldn't pick that up a bit too much. Anyway, we go back to the battle for sixth position now then. Well, we were at the battle for sixth, but it seems that we're looking at the rest of the order at this stage of the race. As we now look at De Oliveira, who's again trying his best to fend off from Alan Jefferson, and it does make you wonder if the yellow flags are going to be down at that corner for the rest of the race. Probably for the best, really, for being totally honest, given all the contact that we've seen down there. But anyway, we're now coming around the S's now then, so coming around the section of corners now, then we go, as he's also brought Julian Remes into this as well. So Remes just picking up the places during all of this, during all the contacts that we've seen down at the corner that we're soon approaching now then, as Jefferson trying to have a look at De Oliveira, but can't overtake him down there because there are yellow flags, and I would imagine those yellow flags are going to stay there for the entirety of the race. Not like you get penalties in this series for it, but of course the AI react in a way where they don't overtake on the yellows. So that's pretty much that, really. On some occasions, that is, because we have seen in some occasions they just blatantly ignore it, but on some occasions, well, most times they don't ignore it. But anyway, back to this battle for sixth now. Then Jefferson on the back of De Oliveira. Can he get the move done this time? He's in the gearbox of his fellow compatriot. De Oliveira already thinking about defending the inside as Jefferson takes advantage. There's a gap on the inside. Can Jefferson get the move done down the inside into the first corner? And he can. Jefferson up into sixth position, and it's now Julian Remes' turn to try and get a hold of De Oliveira.
I think Oliveira is looking for a move to fight back his fellow compatriot, but he doesn't make a move. And he almost won wide, but just managed to cover up the corner. As we already seeing the marshals trying to pull into the car out on the track, or at least I'm not sure, fifth or sixth time already. I mean, come on. Sorry to act like this, but we like to see some action. See the action out on track, because I think we got plenty of it today.
I want to bring up, for anybody wondering if you can hear any rumbling in the background of where I am, it's currently thundering where I am, but luckily I don't live in an area where Flo usually lives, which is usually quite a danger zone for thundering. So don't worry about me, about any thunder issues for me, guys. I don't live in an area like Flo does. I actually live in quite an open area, unlike Flo, who I think lives in a bit of the countryside, if I'm not mistaken, in Germany. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out in case you hear any rumbling going on in the background, because there is a bit of thunder going on outside where I am. But anyway, back to the battle between Tarasyn and Sikorsky now then, as they now make their way towards the final few turns on the racetrack now then, as the battle for 12 continues, as there's 5 laps to go now then in this race. And I wonder if Remes is actually starting to put pressure on De Oliveira just in front, because there is a battle between those two. As we've mentioned so many times, De Oliveira's race pace just seems to be that little bit off at the moment, as I don't know if Remes is able to get De Oliveira on this occasion, but meanwhile Sikorsky could get Tarasyn into the first corner though. Sikorsky looks to the inside, as Remes has not been able to get De Oliveira yet. Down the inside they go. Can he get the move done? Down the inside, and that should be the position there for Sikorsky, unless Tarasyn could hold on, which he can't, I don't think. So I think Sikorsky is going to get the edge, and Sikorsky up into 12th place, and there you go. So 12th place goes to Jacob Sikorsky. He's only 2 places away from the points.
The other one we need to mention is Thomas Bennett, who's already up in 9th thanks to the incidents that happened out on track. And I have to mention it because he hasn't scored a single point in the last 2 races, which were pretty much the first 2 races of the ONC entrance series. So the Welshman pretty much needs a good race for this one. You already know him that he's pretty much of a talented driver, and he missed on the sign-up, the official sign-ups, or the team didn't want neither of the teams wanted him in DTM F2 or Formula E or World Champ Cup, for example. So he pretty much needs a good result in the entrance series if he don't want to embarrass himself.
Yes, indeed, as we've got 4 laps to go here at the Hungaroring, and it looks like that area down at the third to last corner is going to remain yellow for the rest of the race. Probably for the best, really, so that we can avoid a bit of bumping going on down at that corner as Soppinen tries everything to get a hold of Sam Fact here in the fight for 17th position. Not quite really for points, as they were probably hoping, as Suarez, meanwhile, trying to get a hold of who is that in front of him. I didn't quite see who it was in 9th position, but he's not close enough to go for a move anyway, as
That's
we can see see from the positions gained. Lopez, of course, definitely, as we talked about earlier, a man on a mission today, as he's gained 12 places from his original starting position. He started in 17th and he's already up to 5th.
That's pretty much impressive, and it looks like he wants a challenge for the podium, which is, I'm not sure if it is possible or not with 4 laps to go. Oh, because he's a bit far off from the next 2 in front, so I don't think he's going to get a podium this race.
We'll see as we have 4 laps to go. As meanwhile, Fact is dropped down to 19th position as Soppinen has finally got a hold of him, so he's off his 18th. Fact, of course, Fact's out of the race. Fact is out of the race. Has he been taken out by Soppinen? And I think the answer to that is yes. Let's have a look at the replay here. As we were wondering if we were ever going to get a turn 1 accident, and we have. It's Soppinen and Fact, the top 2 in the championship. Soppinen without a front wing, his race is ruined, and Fact is out of the race.
Well, that is pretty much absolutely predictable at some point, but not in the back of the field, so that's pretty much surprising that they come together not in the race lead, but in the back of the field. So I think that pretty much sums up one of their bad days that they are having. So I think that is it for Fact's race, and pretty much for Soppinen's race. That's the end of Soppinen's race as well.
Yes, indeed. As we now look at Jacob Sikorsky, who's now on the back of Chrysler Baronek. They make their way through into the third to last turn now then, where the car park is and where the marshals are having a bit of a blunder with that. But anyway, as we now come into the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then. And let's see if Sikorsky is able to get them moved on Baronek here as they now come around the final turn and onto the pit straight now then. They will come as they now make their way onto the pit straight now then. And is Sikorsky going to get the move done on Baronek? He's going to look to the inside. Can the Polish driver get the move done as they make their way down towards the first corner? The yellow flags are now gone as Soppinen is now in to get a new front wing. But down the inside goes Sikorsky and he's up into 11th place. Just 1 place away now from the points. As meanwhile, as mentioned, we are on the third to last lap. Tilly's not far behind, in fact. Ray and Adam at this point in time, as it's now actually 0.8 seconds between the pair of them. As we now look at Tarrasin now then, he comes down towards turn 3 now then. As now Coney Ziner is trying to fend off 15th place. We mentioned that Soppinen's in the pitch, which he is, and I think he has now come out onto the racetrack now then. I think he is, in fact, unless he's stuck in the garage. I'm not 100% sure because the dot isn't moving at the moment. So do you want to quickly double check that, Yuri? Because I don't know if he's stuck in the garage or not. No, he isn't. In fact, the dot's moving. Never mind. So ignore me. He is actually moving. I thought for a minute there he was stuck there, but never mind. He is actually nearly a lap down from the race leader, Josh Fings, who's just started the penultimate lap of the race. Meanwhile, we have got a battle for second now between Tilly and Ray and Adam coming down towards the first corner. And we have got this battle for second now. It's Tilly now right onto the gearbox of Ray and Adam now. As they come down the pit straight, he's going to look to the inside. The Frenchman, can he get the move done on Adam now then, on the Italian? Is he trying to have a go into the first corner? Down the inside, is he close enough? The answer to that is no, because Adam breaks that little bit later to stay in front of the Frenchman, and he at the moment holds on to that second place. This could definitely be a battle that could go down to the final lap.
Pretty much, turn 1 is the only opportunity when Tilly can overtake, and he's got one more shot to do, unless he's trying to make a move into the inside of turn 3, but he had to back out of it. That's pretty much impossible to do without running over the track, as we already see the car park and marshals again. And here's Harrison, the Swedish driver, who's currently up in 13th, who pretty much fallen down the field just like a few other drivers. We saw in a few other drivers' cases, but it looks like he's now trying to make a move on the car in front, which I'm sure who's that at the moment, but this pretty much turns out to be an interesting race nonetheless.
Was Chris Towson trying to have a go at Christoph Baronek there a little bit earlier on. But meanwhile, as Soppinen crossed the line because he's nearly a lap down, the race leader, Josh Fings, I believe, is just coming out of the final turn, as you can see on the mini-map there, and is about to start the final lap here at the Hungaroring, and he does. So final lap of the race for race leader Josh Fings here at the Hungaroring. Meanwhile, is Tilly close enough to get a hold of Ray and Adam? I don't think he is. I think he's a little bit too far back, unless he can get him on the traction, which I think he has. He actually has got better traction on Adam, so this could be his last chance to try and get a hold of second place here off of Ray and Adam, as I think Conkham behind is just a little bit too far back to challenge. Adam defending inside, but Tilly flicks it back to the inside. Can the Frenchman get the move done? The answer to that is no. Adam just fends off, and I think that might do it, in fact, unless he's able to find a way through into turn number 3, but he's lost traction, and Adam, I think, has held on to second. But Josh Fings, been a brilliant race from the Englishman, started in second place, took the lead at the start after Bernardo de Oliveira basically bogged down at the start of the race, and he's looking good to become the third different winner in the entrance series. And I'm trying to figure out where he is in the championship in terms of all of this going into this race, because I know he didn't. I don't think he scored points last time out. Sorry, he scored points last time out at Silverstone, but I don't think he scored points at the Red Bull Ring. So let me just quickly check where he is at the moment. He's currently 8th in the championship, so I don't know who has the fastest lap. I think it might be him, but it will put him right into the title fight as a result. Obviously, the championship could get decided at the next race at Spa-Francorchamps, but I think, judging from what we've seen today, I think it might be a bit hard for, I think, Juha Suppanen, because I think he'll still lead the championship, although I could be wrong on that, to win that championship at Spa. So I think it's more likely going to go down to the wire at Monza. But anyway, here comes Josh Fings, and he's just coming around the final corner for the 18th and final time, and he's going to become the third different winner in the entrance series as Josh Fings takes victory here at the Hungaroring, here in Budapest. He wins here at the Hungaroring. A fantastic drive for Josh Fings. Here is the winner, as here is this big battle for second place that's going on between Ray and Adam, Hinaldi Tilly and Funyator Conkham, and now coming around the final turn, I think Adam is just going to hold on to that second position. Adam coming down the pit straight, and he takes second place with ease there, although Tilly tries to have a go at him, but Adam just holds on. Tilly third, Conkham in fourth. Lopez, a brilliant drive from him from 17th. He crossed the line in 5th position. Alan Jefferson comes around the final turn, and he's going to cross the line in 6th position in his car now. Then Bernardo de Oliveira, a disappointing race from pole. He finishes 7th. Julian Remes finishes in 8th. He gains a bit on Juha Suppanen as a result. Thomas Bennett is going to cross the line in 9th position, with David Suarez competing the points in 10th. Sikorsky just misses out in 11th, with Baronek in 12th. Then it's Towers in 13th. Ormond in 14th. Then Koni Zaina is going to cross the line in 15th. Finally finishing a race this season. 16th Skillen. 17th goes to Noakes, as Juha Suppanen is going to be the last of the finishers in 18th after he wiped out Sam Fact earlier on in the race, and his race is ruined, so no points going the way to the championship leader. I think he will still hold on to the lead of the championship though, but I could be wrong. I will double check on that a little bit later on. As Suppanen now then comes up the hill towards the final corner, and Suppanen is going to cross the line in 18th and become the final finisher of the race. So across the line he will go. Hopefully it will take us to the menu screen, which it will, because it says race over. So Josh Fings is the winner, and the third different winner of the entrance series, and that is pretty much that then. So here is your full race results. Josh Fings wins the race from Ray and Adam in 2nd. Hinaldi Tilly finishes in 3rd, with Funyator Conkham in 4th. Joel Lopez in 5th, with Alan Jefferson 6th. Then it is Bernardo de Oliveira in 7th, with Julian Remes in 8th. Thomas Bennett in 9th, with Davy Suarez in 10th. Jacob Sikorsky in 11th, and you can do the rest, Benz.
First, the Baronex finished at 12 ahead of Chris Harrison, Nathan Ormond, Emilio sorry if I butchered that name once again, Max Killen, Danny Anokias, and Joe Suppanen is the last finisher, down 18th. Those who didn't finish the races, the second in the championship, Sam Frank, Trey Borghi, and Alexander Borges, and then Matteo Kettelon after they all stalled the engine. And looks like Josh Fings got the fastest lap as well, which wasn't surprising. Joe Suppanen was the second fastest ahead of Conkham in 3rd. So Suppanen pretty much had the pace, but it's just the nature of the Hungaroring. It's hard to overtake, and sometimes when you do try to make a move, it could end up in a pretty bad move.
Yes, indeed. We obviously need to hurry things up because obviously we need to get the top class underway. Of course, Things does get the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race here at the Hungarian. But there you have it then. That has been it for the third meeting of the entrance series. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, we've still got another live stream coming up because in around 40 minutes time, we of course have the top class race for the Hungarian Grand Prix. 70 laps of action coming your way. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. The next entrance series will be on next week at Spa-Francorchamps, which will be the penultimate race of the season. But until then, guys, that's been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching. I've been JW97. He's been Bent, and we will see you next time.
See you on the track.